What happens when you kill something, but it refuses to stay dead? Imagine driving for hours deep into the desert, leaving a creature behind in the middle of nowhere, only to return home and find it sitting on your couch, waiting for you, staring at you. This is not a myth. This story is based on a recorded case from the Civil Defense Files in Egypt. A story about a house that burned for 6 days straight, a fire that water could not extinguish, and a family that made a fatal mistake. They thought they were dealing with an animal. They were wrong. Welcome to SAHARA NOIR. Our story begins in a quiet, traditional neighborhood in Cairo. The year was 2010. The family was ordinary in every way: a hard-working father, a caring mother, and 3 young children who filled the house with laughter. Their life was peaceful, normal, until the day the guest arrived. It was a rainy Tuesday evening when they found it. A small, black kitten. Pitch black. It looked like a piece of the night sky had fallen onto their doorstep. Not a single white hair on its entire body. It was shivering, wet, and looking up at them with wide, piercing golden eyes. The children begged their father to keep it. "Please, Baba," they said. "It has nowhere to go." The mother felt a strange pity for the poor thing, and so, against his better judgment, and perhaps sealed by fate, the father opened the door. He let it in. For the first few months, everything was perfect. The cat, which they simply called She, seemed to be the perfect pet. It was affectionate. It would curl up at the foot of the children's bed. It would purr loudly when the mother cooked in the kitchen. It seemed grateful. But then slowly, almost imperceptibly, the atmosphere in the house began to shift. It wasn't something you could see right away. It was something you could feel, like the air pressure dropping before a storm. The mother was the first to notice. She would be alone in the living room, reading or watching TV, and she would get the sudden, overwhelming sensation of being watched. She would turn around, and there, on top of the high cupboard, the cat would be sitting frozen, statue still. Its golden eyes were locked onto her. Not with love, not with curiosity, but with a cold, calculating intelligence. It didn't look like an animal looking at its owner. It looked like a predator, studying its prey. As the weeks went on, the behavior became more disturbing. The cat stopped eating regular food. It stopped playing with the toys the children bought. Instead, it began to patrol the house at night. The father would wake up at 3 in the morning to get a glass of water, and he would find the cat sitting in the middle of the dark hallway, facing his bedroom door, just waiting. When he walked past it, it wouldn't move. It would just turn its head slowly, following him with those glowing eyes. Then the violence began. One afternoon, the youngest son was playing in his room. Suddenly, the parents heard a scream that chilled their blood. They rushed into the room. The boy was cornered against the wall, crying, terrified. The cat was standing in front of him, back arched, hissing. But the sound wasn't a normal hiss. It was low, guttural, and deep. It sounded almost like a human gargling broken glass. When the father tried to shoo it away, the cat lunged. It didn't scratch randomly. It swiped directly at the father's eyes. It was fast. Too fast for a normal animal. The father managed to dodge, but he felt the wind of its claws against his face. That night, the family held a meeting. The mother was shaking. The children were too scared to enter their own rooms. "This is not normal," the mother whispered. "Look at its eyes. There is something evil inside that thing." The father agreed. They couldn't keep it, but they couldn't just throw it on the street to hurt someone else. They had to take it far away. The next morning, the father executed the plan. He grabbed the cat, which fought him with unnatural strength, and shoved it into a thick cardboard box. He taped it shut. He put the box in the trunk of his car, and he drove. He didn't just go to the next street. He drove for an hour, leaving the city, heading out onto the desert highway. He found a remote area, a wasteland of sand and rocks where no humans lived. He took the box out, opened it, and watched the cat run into the desert. He felt a wave of relief. It was over. He got back in his car, turned up the radio, back in his car, and drove home back in his car. The drive took him exactly 60 minutes. Back in his car. He parked his car. He walked up the stairs to his apartment. He took his keys out, humming a tune. Finally feeling safe, he unlocked the door, pushed it open, and stepped inside. And then his heart stopped. His knees almost gave out. There, sitting on the center of the Persian rug in the living room, was the cat. The cat. It was licking its paw, calm, composed. It looked up at him, and for a second, he swore he saw it smile. How? He whispered to himself. How is this possible? He had just left it 30 miles away. No car could travel that fast. No animal could find its way back through the maze of the city streets. He thought he was going crazy. So, he tried again. 3 days later, he took the cat again. This time, he drove to a different governorate. He crossed the river now. He went to a crowded marketplace in a different city, miles and miles away. He left the cat there amidst thousands of people and smells. It will never find its way back from here, he told himself. But when he returned home that evening, the cat was waiting on the balcony, staring at him through the glass. Its eyes were now burning with a fire that didn't belong to this world. It knew what he was trying to do, and it was mocking him. Fear, true fear, can make a good man do terrible things. The family stopped sleeping. They could hear the cat pacing outside their bedroom doors at night. Asterisk click, click, click. Asterisk. The sound of its claws on the tiles sounded like a ticking clock counting down to their doom. The father decided there was only one way to end this nightmare. If he couldn't lose the cat, he had to kill it. I will not describe the brutality of the act. It is enough to say that it was done out of pure terror and desperation. The deed was done. The body was lifeless. The father took the remains, drove to a desolate area, and buried them deep underground. He placed heavy rocks over the grave. He dusted his hands off and whispered, "It's finally over." That night, the house was silent for the first time in weeks. The children slept peacefully. The mother slept. The heavy atmosphere seemed to lift. They thought they had won. They thought they had protected their home, but they had made a fatal calculation. They thought they were killing a biological creature, an animal of flesh and blood. They didn't know that by destroying the vessel, they were simply releasing the monster inside. They had just declared war on a king. 2 days passed in silence. Then the retribution began. It started on a Thursday night. The family was sitting together, trying to get back to normal life. Suddenly, without any spark, without any reason, the curtains in the living room burst into flames. It wasn't a slow burn. It was an explosion of fire. "Run!" The father screamed. He grabbed his children. His wife grabbed their papers, and they scrambled out of the apartment just as the ceiling began to fill with black smoke. They stood on the street below, watching their life burn. The neighbors called the fire department. The trucks arrived within minutes. The firefighters were professionals. They unrolled the hoses, aimed the water cannons, and blasted the fire. But then, something impossible happened. something that the firefighters would talk about for years to come. When the water hit the fire, the flames didn't die. They grew higher. The water acted like gasoline. The fire roared, turning from a normal orange to a sickly, demonic violet color. It hissed and screamed as if the fire itself was alive. The firefighters were baffled. They called for backup. More trucks. More water. Foam. Nothing worked. The fire raged for 6 long days, 6 days. A normal apartment burns out in a few hours. But this fire refused to stop until it had consumed every single inch of the structure. It burned the wood. It burned the clothes. It even scorched the concrete walls black. It was as if the fire was eating the house. When the smoke finally cleared, nothing was left but ash and ruin. The father, broken, homeless, and terrified, finally sought help from the only place left. He went to a spiritual healer, a sheikh who was known for dealing with the world of the unseen, the world of the Djinn. Father sat with the old man and confessed everything. He told him about the black cat, the glowing eyes, the abandonment, and finally, the killing. The sheikh closed his eyes. His face went pale. He remained silent for a long time. Finally, he looked at the father with eyes full of pity. "You fool," the sheikh whispered. "That was never a cat." He explained that in the unseen world, there are entities, powerful spirits. Sometimes, they take the form of black animals to walk among us, to test us. "What you brought into your house," the sheikh said, "was a vessel, a body occupied by a king of the Djinn." The sheikh's voice trembled as he continued, "When you killed the body, you broke the laws of their world. You forced the spirit out. And in their law, blood demands blood." The fire was his anger. The water could not stop it because it was not a fire of this world. "You are lucky," the sheikh added, "that he only took your house and not your children."
Our souls. The advice was simple. Leave. Leave the neighborhood. Leave the city. Never look back. And never, ever harm a black cat again. The family packed what little they had left and disappeared. But locals say that if you walk past the burnt ruins of that building at night, when the moon is full, you don't hear the wind. You hear the sound of a cat purring from beneath the ashes. This story serves as a warning to anyone listening. Be careful what you invite into your home, and be even more careful what you try to kill, because sometimes death is just an invitation for something much worse. This is Sahara Noir. Subscribe and turn on the lights.